Intelligence System Analytic Computer is activated. All ISAC systems are confirmed online. Data scanned. Downloading files.
What's up, guys? You listen to episode 139 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of The Division. My name is Mike, and joining me as always are my co-hosts, Robert.
Hello.
And Luke.
Hello.
Merry Christmas, guys, and I hope you had an awesome holiday so far.
Yeah, it was good.
Much
Lots
beer.
of drinking, yeah.
Now, I know we're talking about The Division today, but obviously I would expect you to have played a lot of Siege over this break.
A hell of a lot.
Yeah, too much. Is there such a thing as too much?
I don't know, slightly jealous right now. Let's go. Anyway, I hope you guys and our listeners have had a great week, and welcome to any new listeners of the show. Now, obviously, there's no news this week as it's still the holidays, so we'll try and keep this as quick as possible for you guys. But we thought we'd take a very quick look back over the last year in the Division in 2018 and kind of see how things went, the good and the bad. Okay, so straight after, what was it, Resistance in November 2017, we didn't have anything really Division related until March 8th, when the second anniversary stream we had. Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to do the dun dun dun. We had the announcement of the Division 2 boys.
I can't believe it's that long ago. It's crazy. March.
How many months? Yeah, how many months? That's like
9 months, dude.
10?
You've had a baby in that time.
9 months. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I haven't personally had a baby.
I got married in that time.
Yeah, you got married in that time. We've all managed to get together in that time as well.
Twice.
Gay.
Someone had to say it, I guess.
I mean, technically, me and Rob have slept together in that time.
Yeah.
In the same bed. Let's just make that clear.
Oh, yeah. I meant slept as in we were asleep, not...
And farting. Lots of farting
Lots
was involved.
of drunk farting, yes.
And it was all night long.
Oh, I'm not singing.
You were gonna. Okay, so very quickly, obviously we were hugely like, oh my god, the Division 2 has finally been announced. I can't remember if we got like a mini teaser trailer for it. Or was that more at E3, or was it just the announcement that they were working on?
I think it was just the announcement.
Yeah, I can't remember because we've had a couple of trailers since then. So obviously we were kind of elated, but the downside was I'm pretty sure the announcement of the Division 2 got leaked prior to the anniversary stream, and we've spent like months on the lead up, obviously to the announcement of basically talking about where we thought the next game was going to be based, and we kind of guessed it. Obviously, we guessed other places as well, like San Francisco and Los Angeles, but yeah.
Vegas. I was a big advocate for Vegas.
I'll go to Vegas.
Road trip.
In the Division, right?
Well, I mean, Vegas is on my bucket list anyway, so, you know, if Division 3 is in Vegas, I'm going.
And then obviously the announcement came out that it was Washington, D.C., but unfortunately, like, I'm pretty sure it was leaked in, was it a YouTuber's video a couple of weeks prior or a couple of days prior to the announcement?
I can't remember about the location being leaked. I know the Division 2 got leaked that morning of the state of the game, didn't it? Some online website decided it was just going to ignore the timestamp on the NDA and just go with, well, it's today, we'll just publish this article now. I think everybody in the community was speculating as to where the second game was going to be, though, weren't they? As soon as the game was announced, they were just like, it's going to be London, it's going to be Moscow, it's going to be Vegas. We're all wrong.
I'm going to say now, please don't overset it in London.
I think
it would just be the worst. We have said that before. Don't. It would just be the... Was it somebody said London's calling? It's just like, no. That would be the worst Division.
What?
We're too lazy to be Division agents. Come on.
What if they did set it in London, but they set it across the entirety of Europe? It'd have to be pre-Brexit, obviously, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, how the hell would that work?
You'd need a visa to get around still.
We might not actually be part of Europe. We'll find out
It would be too
after
similar
the
as well,
Division
like-
2 launches.
Like London is very much like New York, whether it's like it has an underground, doesn't it, and lots of subway stations and.
It's something I don't think we ever speculated was. I think because we were just like, no, it's not London. Well, I'm not even putting that on the table, but we never speculated like anything to do with it. I'm just kind of thinking now, what would be the base of operations? And don't say the Houses of Parliament because that's a fucking shambles.
Fuck that. You go to Buckingham Palace, don't you? If you're going to have a base of operations, pimp it out, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, dude. Get to dress up as one of those people with microphone things on their heads.
The beef eaters.
Yeah, the beef eaters, yeah.
How are you British and you don't know what they're called?
I know what they're called, I just forgot, right?
He's been drinking. Leave him alone.
Standard, dude.
Oh, yeah, it's podcast night. Of course he's been drinking.
Very quickly,
Podcast.
what were your thoughts on the announcement
Week.
of the Division 2?
What?
Obviously, how you guys felt when it finally got announced after us kind of speculating whether it was coming or not in the future. We're kind of like hoping, but
I think the cool thing was when they told us that they had started it literally before, was it before the Division came out?
Yeah.
Just that was like, holy shit. That's crazy.
So the begs the question, have they started Division 3 yet? Or are they waiting a couple of months still?
hey, that starts in March. Luke.
Same as Rob, and same as you, to be honest with you, like elated that they were bringing the second one out. I think most people in the community kind of knew one was coming. It just made sense. You know, the first one was such a success financially. They'd have had to been insane not to bring a second one out.
Yeah.
But to actually get that confirmation was just like, you know, proper nerd moment, wasn't it? Like, yeah.
I think the other thing as well for me was how far away the game was to release. Like, I think we were kind of thinking maybe end of 2019, more towards 2020. And I know a lot of people were speculating September of this year, because that's normally around the time like Destiny releases and the rough timeline of how long they've been working on the game. I'm kind of glad they didn't release in September after all those games that have just come out over the past, 4 to 5 months.
All those amazing BRs.
Yeah. Hey, we had Spider-Man, we had God of War.
I was taking the piss, dude. All right.
I know. We had that other sweet game that I know you love. Fishing Simulator 2. God. But yeah, the fact it was closer than we thought, though, even at the time, was still like, holy shit, this is still another year away before we even get to that. Was like, yeah.
So think about that, right? How far away that was. This is the last podcast we can say that Division 2 comes out next year.
Yes.
If this gets released before next year.
Assuming this doesn't get pushed back or any technical difficulties, touch wood, then...
As recording this, there is 72 days till it comes out.
72.
I was going to say there's 72 days before the end of the year. And I was going to go, what, Rob?
Is that 72 days before release or 72 days before early access?
Well, if it's early access and minus the 3 from the number Rob's just given us, what do we get, boys?
Meal for 2, baby.
Meal for 2. I tell you what, me and Rob went to bingo. We kept calling that out every time.
Yeah.
6 and 9, meal for 2.
Yeah.
Then there was
obviously
E3, right? We saw...
not quite. During the announcement stream, we had, I think, what was it, the second or third roadmap that we've ever been given?
Oh, yeah.
The Division?
Yeah.
So they kind of did like a huge celebration in March. I'm pretty sure they ran all the global events constantly throughout the whole month. And then there was an announcement of an update 1.8.1, which was going to drop the Xbox One X patch update for 4K scaling. And there might have been a couple of other bits, but it also included a new global event, which was Blackout.
Yeah.
And then the month after, we got Onslaught. Now, I'm pretty sure we've said this before.
Best 2.
Yeah. These are the best of all of the global events, just because of how fun they are in comparison to the other ones. It kind of feels like the first 4 are kind of like to up the difficulty or to make it more challenging, even though they kind of don't at the same time. They make life easier.
Yeah, they make you change your gameplay.
Yeah.
These 2
shits and giggles.
Just fun as fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of changing your gameplay, though, I think they've all been a success, haven't they? Like you really do have to completely change how you want. You don't have to. You can completely ignore it if you want to, but if you play them the way that they were set up, they do give you quite an advantage. Like there are a couple out there that make survival super fucking easy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think the one where you take more damage out of cover, don't you? I can't remember which one it is, but
I forget which one's which anyway.
No,
that must. Yeah, I was going to say, Rob, that must have been an absolute bitch for you.
Why?
Leroy.
I was going to say, like, this is on about changing your gameplay style. Rob, do you
can
feel
snipe,
like,
dude? I can snipe.
I never said you couldn't. But do you feel like you changed?
Build.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, do you feel like you've managed to change your play style through any of these global events, or have you just Leroy Jenkins did?
No, I had a Hunter's Faith build. Because I was on PC way before you guys, so like I already hit Outbreak before. Yeah, so yeah, for sure.
That's so.
I tell you what, though, I know you two have said about your favourite ones. They've all been really good fun in their own right, I think. Especially the first rotation, anyway. Like maybe second and third time they've been a little bit stale, but
I think our problem with it was we obviously played them to death on console. We played them to death on PS4. We got all the loot, we got all the gear sets we needed, and then we decided to move to PC, and then obviously rerunning all the shields again, not the shields, sorry, the global events again, and then kind of being like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this because I've kind of got everything, and we're just kind of doing it to kind of get perfect pieces or complete little bits of builds and stuff like that. So I mean, that side of it was kind of good, but I can understand why we were kind of burnt out towards the end of it, for sure.
You know, because we've all pre-ordered on PC.
Yeah.
Yes.
With Division 2, do you think we're going to do the opposite and complete the game many times over on PC and then go back to PS4?
No, I'm going to buy an Xbox.
I'm going to buy a Switch.
I'm going to buy an Xbox and force you all to play on Xbox.
Did not see that answer coming.
With mouse and keyboard, because they've now supported it.
But you can't, Rob, because I know what you're like. Our good friend Brad would give you shit about all those sweet frames.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And we love both consoles, but at the end of the day...
But do we?
I do. I don't care what you boys say.
This is SITREP Radio, right? We're famous for hating Xbox.
But they're no different. They're literally no different.
They are different.
They're not different.
They make bad life choices. Makes them different.
Okay, their policy on sharing games to begin with was slightly skewed, but let's be honest, since then, they've come a long way.
Yeah, but Xbox, now it has keyboard and mouse support. It's basically a shitty PC.
Well, it does have Microsoft on it, dude. So it's pretty much a PC.
Yeah. A shitty PC. Because 30 frames, right?
They might have more frames on Xbox One X.
Maybe. I hope the next generation of I hope the next generation of consoles, like, they try and get more frames, because
you miss the frames.
No, I just think it would bring more people
to PC.
Has the exact opposite effect of what they're going for.
It would bring all those PC players back to kind of casual gaming.
No, it would make it easier for crossplay to happen. Because if console can play at 60 frames with mouse and keyboard, then there's no reason why they can't be competitive against PC players.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Are you ever going to see a world where that happens? Are we ever going to get to a point where console and PC are pretty much the same thing? Because I can't see it, just due to price. If you know what I mean. Anyway, that's enough about console versus PC. Let's move on. So in June, we had what has kept many of the community going this entire year, with update 1.8.2, shields were first introduced.
Woo!
Although they were actually mentioned back in March, but we didn't know what they were going to be. And I'm pretty sure we speculated that we were hoping they were going to be something along the lines of Destiny's record book. Yes, I know, Luke. Sorry. We've got to have one mention.
I want to have a drink.
Chug, chug, chug.
Last one of 2018, Rob.
I just ran out of beer as well. That sucks.
Yeah, me too. Can we have a drink break?
No.
Oh.
Denied.
Shut down.
But yeah, it was something we were definitely looking or speculating that it was going to be, and it definitely ended up being something along those lines, but it wasn't 100% the same, was it, Rob?
No, it's nowhere near as grindy. Thank God.
No.
It's a reason to log back in every month or so.
Yeah, it's definitely a reason to log back in. Obviously, you get those sweet Division 2 rewards, vanity rewards. I just hope that there's no other way of getting those rewards in the game. I know it sounds harsh, but
no, they won't be that stupid. Well, you might better buy them.
Yeah, but that's
with the real money.
Do that. No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I'm with Mike. I'd like them to kind of be exclusive. I'm not expecting them to be like super brilliant that everybody wants them, but if I can run whatever backpack skin it was that I get for completing all the shields, I don't want somebody else to be able to get it just from killing a random mob or something. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite poor if that ends up happening.
Yeah.
Just due to the fact of like everyone grinding these out for the last year, and then someone's just gone, this is so much money, and yeah, time versus money, I guess.
What if that money was put towards making Division 2 better?
Doesn't matter. Division 2 is going to be perfect when it comes out.
All right, mate.
Well, let's be honest. We've got pre-orders. You've got all the money from the Division 1. You've got microtransactions, which I know don't just pay. They're actually going towards other stuff, not just into Ubisoft's back pocket. And then you're going to have a season pass. You got DLC. You're paying for it to some extent, aren't you?
Don't forget about
Even
that.
though we're getting free DLC.
Let's not
episodes.
go down that route again.
Yeah, let's not go down that road. But yeah. Sorry, you look like you wanted to kind of.
No, I wasn't going to rage. I was going to chip in with another source of income, but Rob's told me not to go down that rabbit hole, so I'm going to be quiet.
And then, unfortunately, we had update 1.8.3 drop.
The best update.
The best
since
update we've ever had.
1.4.
I'm pretty sure we got content in other patches, Rob.
Hey?
We got content in other patches previously to this.
Again, I was joking.
Not one or two, but
it was very heavily sarcastic remark.
I could not tell. Please emphasize with your hands next time. I just like to state for the record, I had a finger stuck up to me.
And say audio only medium, guys. Come on.
Anyway, update 1.8.3 was a bit of an emergency patch that obviously became important due to the running in place bug, which has impacted the division for a long time.
Thank you, Marcus Stiles.
Yeah. Thank you very much. He managed to replicate it several times and send over record it and send it over, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main reason why they did that patch.
Yeah.
Because he proved it.
I'm so glad Marco went to see the division the other week for that Meteor event. I just want to see what the feedback he gave for the alpha, what that was. It's right, you can just stay redacted. It's nothing to do.
It was the same weekend, I think, so I'm not sure what build he would have played.
Don't know. He might have played a more polished build compared to the alpha. Anyway, besides addressing the running in place bug, obviously the striker meta at the time was a little bit OP, would you say, boys?
Yes.
So this patch was kind of to address both of those and take care of some quality of life stuff that's been kind of
Yeah.
impacting the
Not
division.
forgetting the med pack.
Yeah, the sweet med pack, which gave you how much health back? Was it 30%? I think you boys said
3%.
Yeah, the old
33%.
the old drop and pop.
Drop and pop. It's like Pringles, but with a med pack.
Crunchy.
What med pack?
No.
Yeah, crunchy.
No, pizza flavored.
Obviously, like the two big things here. We're glad that the bug fixes got squashed. You know, there was the showstopper, the RPM issue that was causing it to be a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, we had the running in place bug, which we've obviously talked about, and then we had the striker change where it moved to a missing a shot, drops a stack, reduces stacks by 2 stacks every second. And basically you weren't gaining as much stacks as you were previously to self-heal, and it wasn't applied under the effects of EMP. How do you think this actually affected PvP after this dropped?
Well, it definitely shifted the meta.
Yeah.
I just yeah, a lot of people got pissed off because the meta is now stale because there's no more updates. Yeah, I don't know.
See, I don't understand the people that are moaning that not that you're moaning about it, Rob, but the people that were moaning that the meta got stale because there's no more updates, and yet with this update, it moved the meta so that it was one of very few times in the life cycle of this game that we've had, you could almost argue, multiple metas. So Nomad, Pred, you could still use Striker. For PvP at least.
Agreed, but Division players don't like mediocrity. They want to be OP. They want to feel
surely if you'd not had
power.
1.8.3 then and Striker was the meta, surely that would be more stale than what we'd got. Because A, you were an update down, and B, you could only run one thing and one thing alone.
But it's just like, it's going back to when we talked about
Alpha Bridge and stuff
and
like
Alpha
that,
Bridge
yeah.
was everyone was running the same thing. It was kind of balanced, and it was down to skill rather than you've got like a stale build meta.
But it's the same thing where you've got a more balanced patch where everyone's running strikers because it's
win. They need to cut. I hope they realize this going into Division 2 and like think, well, we just need to tweak things every month, like what Siege does. They just need to tweak and change things so it messes the meta up and everyone has to switch what they're doing.
It's something they do very well in other PvP related games, isn't it? They're constantly adjusting weapon balancing,
sandbox changes.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, with them both being Ubisoft games, how much time the Division 2 team has spent in close quarters with the R6 team. Just to say,
dude, don't.
Like what Rob says, how much tweaking do you do? Like, do you know what you're going to do month on month to make sure that the meta shifts and that, I know obviously map changes and stuff help that as well as, which they probably can't do in Division 2, but like weapon balancing and rebalancing and recoil changes and removing this sight from this weapon, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well, because you're not taking out of a pool, you're taking out of the attachments to the weapons this time, aren't you? So they're already dedicated per weapon rather than as a loot drop.
They kind of did, like, instead of adding ops, they added gear sets. So they kind of had this very similar.
Yeah,
like every,
but they're not balanced at all.
Like, but then that's the whole point of there's supposed to be a balance pass every time you add more things. That's why Siege has a TTS. Every time they add 2 new operators or new maps, they do a TTS, and it gets
how long does the test server run for?
It depends. Like, sometimes they'll run it, release a patch. It's not quite right. They'll do another TTS for a couple of weeks, and then release another patch.
Yeah, because I feel like anytime we had like a PTS or a new patch go live, it was always treated as like a big deal. Now maybe it's just our insight into the Siege community and obviously the Siege like development. It doesn't feel as much of a big thing. It's just constantly changing. It's just constantly changing, so it's not really affecting anyone. Whereas like in the Division, one thing gets changed and the whole community can just be like either yay or nay in like one moment, and the amount of time spent on just adjustments doesn't seem very long because we're so worried about getting the patch out there to fix stuff because of obviously like console players and stuff like
Different to Siege is a solely multiplayer game.
Yeah, it's not affecting the outside of just PvP, and I know that's the one thing we kind of always kind of look at it from that point of view, don't we?
Well, we do, but I mean, the other thing that we don't know whether they've done in Division 2 or not is if they can separately balance PvE and PvP. So, which is something that a lot of people have called for a while, but I can understand how difficult that would be in a game like Division 2 where, you know, the builds are cross-purpose, like all of them.
But I hope that's one thing that they've learned. I mean, it definitely feels like it with the way, obviously, stats and how gear sets are, and just like completely going back to the basics. And I know some of the talents are there, and obviously you've got some of the skills in a slightly different form, but it does feel like they've took like a revamped approach at how to build your agent this time, and I'm hoping it's gonna, you know, as Rob's just
fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully, it's gonna be either all balanced, no matter what you run, or we're gonna have some pretty good gear sets or builds that are gonna be pretty even, not just like 3 or 4. But I'd like them to constantly change. I would admit that if there is like a top 4, let's see some other builds kind of move into the forefront for other people to use, because if we end up with a nomad meta again,
because we know they've got a timetable for the first year, so we know they're going to be getting updates so they can tweak the game.
But that worries me to a degree, because like we don't know what's coming with those updates, right? Is it going to be story, or is it going to be modes, or I understand like a lot of stuff. Like there's no way in my mind that I'm thinking launch of Division 2, everything's going to be done. I guarantee there's going to be a big patch day 1 that we're all going to have to update, and there's going to be a huge list of patch notes. It's like, here we go again, boys.
Finally get to read patch notes.
I think you should. That's like a special occasion.
In an Australian accent.
Challenge accepted.
So drunk that it doesn't sound Australian.
Is that your excuse and you're sticking to it?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we'll see, I guess.
Should we move to questions?
Yes. Oh, no, wait. We've got one more thing before we go. Obviously, that was the last thing to happen back in August. I think that was out, obviously, whilst we were out at Gamescom with the lovely Bori the Blade and Xavier. And we spent a couple of days out there.
Xavier the knife. Or the dagger.
Xavier, this ain't a knife. I
was just trying to think of a smaller
knife
version of a blade.
Pen knife.
He's mini Boris.
A pen knife.
Pen knife. You can't really call him Xavier the pen knife.
You just did.
Well, okay.
At least just looking at us like I'm done. Yeah, so we went to Gamescom. I'd just like to give Boris a huge thank you. Shout out. Shout out for putting up with us for 4 days. Obviously I think we are all absolutely shattered after that.
Thank you for putting up with my Red Bull induced rage.
It was some good times, but I'm gonna be honest, like I don't think the banter stopped since we all met up in wherever we stayed the night before we flew out to Germany.
Stansted Airport roundabout, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, I think meeting up has just given the banter a new lease of life certainly between the four of us, but definitely between the three of us since Rob Stag do, because we just got different things to throw at each other now, haven't we? Like, we've seen each other in person, we know each other's like idiosyncrasies and that,
and quirks. Yeah.
Obviously, Rob's bedtime is, coming up really soon, and then Boris likes his peppered pizzas and shit. So. And apparently Rob's got a love affair with Mickey the Mouse now as well.
Oh yeah, it was not like, I'm pretty sure we were absolutely shattered. I just remember getting home and just being like, I'm done.
The watch just told me to stand up.
But it was really it was a good time. So thank you, Boris. Before we do move on to questions, I just want to ask you, obviously back in March, we all kind of were like, cool, what's coming next for the year 3? What are we going to get after we just had Resistance? We're going to get some sweet content for year 3. What are we going to get? And obviously we got a couple of patches, a couple of GEs. Obviously Shields was introduced. Are you guys a little bit let down due to the fact that we didn't get a kind of like a big send-off at the end of the year?
No.
Like, a lot of people, I think, were I think they were hoping because they wanted more content to play. But, yeah.
No, that's something that Destiny did really well. But I'm glad Division didn't do it, because it means they're working on the next game more. Look at the Destiny 2 release. I wish they'd spent less time of giving people a send-off and more time on working on the game to begin with, and then maybe the release would have been a little bit more
Good.
More good, yeah.
Most excellent. But it's fine. They fixed it with Forsaken, right?
Sort of.
Okay. Luke, I know you kind of said this. It was something along the lines of you were glad that they came out and kind of told everybody this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one thing that they got right on one of the State of the Games. Like, there's no ambiguity to any of it. It was just bang,
straight up.
We're now giving up. This is what you're going to get. There might be an emergency patch or two, but literally no more content. We're giving you a sequel. It's going to come out on this date, and we've heard nothing since to say that it's anything like being delayed. So they're on track. I think they're well on track, to be honest with you, from what we've seen from posts and social media, like releases and whatever. So yeah, I'm just glad that they kind of stuck to their guns and said, we're going to pull all our resources onto the new game. We've obviously spent 2 or 3 years working on it already. This final year is going to be a massive push to get it as big as good as possible. So
yeah, I think I can understand like a lot of people's perspectives of kind of wanting what we had in 1.8, but I think that was them basically just going, here's some extra stuff, and obviously we knew we were going to get a couple of things anyway, and it was like they had additional resources, which we later found out, and we got a lot more than we actually, I think, thought we were going to get at the end of 2017. So that was really awesome. But for them to kind of come out and say, hey, we can't really spend any more time on the Division 1. This is it until the Division 2, unfortunately. It was sad, but if it makes the Division 2 a better game, and I know we've all said it before, and I'll say it again, if it makes the game better, we'd rather have them spend more time working on that than working on additional content for the game we play. Patches is completely different. I think if something's broke, it needs to be amended, but that's my personal opinion.
I agree.
So, questions?
Yes, Roberts.
We asked our Discord community, what do you expect from the new Dark Zone, and what would you like the rogue mechanics to be in the sequel?
Okay, so first reply came from Wigan84 over at Div Central Podcast, and he says, I would love the new Dark Zone to have 50 players jam-packed with control points and landmarks filled with strong mobs, making 4-man teams a must. Rogue 1.0, please. Is it Rogue 1.0, Rob?
Yeah.
What patch is it though?
It was like 1.3 with more players, right?
Yeah, double the players.
I don't think we're going to get 50 players in the Dark Zone.
Yeah, I think this is coming. I was listening to Div Central, and basically Xbox has the game listed with 50 players, and they reckoned that it was the fact that it's just something Xbox does as standard.
So I know I heard that episode as well.
Yeah.
50 players in a survival game mode would be nice.
Yes.
But I don't think 50 players per Dark Zone server is a good idea, just due to me not wanting to be chased by 46 other players.
Yeah, there is that.
First game was 24, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to see an increase on that, but yeah, I think 50 is a bit.
I'd like to see maybe up to 32. I could see us going up to like 32, something like that, or 30. So you got 15. But I just thought, because obviously we've got raids, which are going to be like an 8-man event. So what happens? Or I say 8-man, 8 boy or girl event.
8 players,
man or woman. Yeah, 8 players.
8 agents.
Yeah. What if they make parties for the Dark Zone like open for 8 people?
No, God, I hope not.
Jesus, can you imagine like 8 nomads?
Unless they've got the TTK absolutely perfect, then you can keep your 8-man squads to raids only. I think. Like CG's 5, and that's enough, and the TTK on that is pretty decent. So,
there's multiples of 8 though. 32 is a good shout.
It's a slight increase, but I would hope it's not enough to like kill the server.
Yeah.
Because you think how much that server's got to load, plus the NPCs that are constantly there as well.
I guess it depends on the size of the Dark Zone as well, though. Like,
We'll have to find out when they officially release some news on the Dark Zone, hopefully sometime soon. Next question feedback comes from Captain Karg, who says, any ideas on avoiding spawn camping and group ganking solo players? Now, I know you boys have been playing the alpha, and you've basically redacted yourself from certain questions.
I cannot answer this.
You cannot confirm or deny anything.
Redacted.
Luke is not here. Leave a message after the tone.
So, with regards to... I haven't played the alpha, unfortunately. Maybe it's fortunate, otherwise we wouldn't be able to answer this. With regards to spawn camping, I know we've said about turrets before, but I'd also like... I think it just needs to be some kind of instant death within a certain range of either checkpoints or safe houses. Have something like Siege, where basically you step out the boundaries, it gives you a timer, and if you don't get back inside that boundary, you're dead. I think that would at least give people a certain amount of range to get out of the checkpoint or safe house without being killed. Because how many times have we left the checkpoint or safe house and you're dead because your body's been there before you've actually loaded in, and they've been like shooting at you? So that happens a lot. With regards to group ganking solo players, I've said this before, I'm probably going to get hate for it. Now, I don't want PvE servers. I don't want that to be a thing. I still want it to be a PvP, VE server situation. But I do think if you're going to get solo players, and they are going to get pissed off with you, then maybe we should just have a rogue system or have a flag system, which basically makes them PvE players only. And they're allowed in the same Dark Zone as everyone else, but they can't fire at anyone, whether that's rogue players or anything. They can't go rogue. And have a cooldown on it as well. Give it a 5, 10 minute, 15 minute cooldown. And then that way they're not keep going to the freaking safe house or checkpoint to switch it back to PvP. Because I think that's wrong. You can't have it both ways. And that's it for questions and feedback, I guess.
Yeah. Should we end the show there?
We'll end the show with one last thing, boys.
What's that?
What is your best memory of 2018? And it can be either in the game or real life.
Either or both.
Either. Or both. You can give us both,
I got
sorry.
married, and I also played Division 2 at Gamescom. So,
Within the space of a week of each other, right?
Yeah, that week, that's my best memory. There you go. Job done.
What was the date of that week?
Yeah.
It's your best memory, dude. You must know it.
18th of August, 2018 it started.
Just to explain to our listeners, Rob's eyes were darting around all over the place then when he was trying to remember what his wedding date was. My best memories of 2018 would be definitely Gamescom, playing Division 2 and meeting up with you guys. Probably outside of the game would be, because I didn't get married this year and I didn't have a child this year, so mine is probably going to be a little bit nerdy and just meeting you two on Rob's Stag Do.
Aww.
Because, if it wasn't for Dragon's Nest in the first game, we wouldn't have met over the internet anyway. But then to get invited on Rob's Stag Do was awesome. And just spend a couple of days getting pissed up and getting to know you two a bit better, which was great. And then obviously Gamescom, we did it all over again. So,
Mike?
Yeah, I gotta be honest, Luke. I'm really sad you weren't at Rob's wedding. I know you can unfortunately make it there, but I did a really good speech.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and now his whole family knows he smoked weed as a kid. But hey, my favorite memory of 2018, real life. Obviously, I mean, I had a second child. Gotta be honest, never delivered a child before, so that was interesting. But basically, to follow that up, obviously, time spent with you guys with Gamescom, Rob's Stag Do, was like,
it's been a
those have been like
year.
some really good freaking memories with some fun people in game. I've got to be honest, Gamescom playing the Division 2, it was so much fun. And just seeing the woman's face when she was like, do you guys know the Division 2? Have you played the Division 2 before? Not the Division 2, but like, have you played the Division before? And she's basically like telling us what it's all about. And we were just like kind of smirking to ourselves. And,
too polite to say shut the fuck up. We know what she's talking about.
Well, we're British. We're too polite for that shit. So. But yeah, that was good. But it was kind of funny. She basically looked at us like a bunch of nerds the next day when we went back, and she's like, "Oh, you guys came back. Good for you." Basically, it wasn't quite in those words, but she might as well have said it like
what
that.
Are the chances we had the same woman as well?
Yeah, I think the grin on our face like made that even funnier when we walked over, and she's like, "It's you guys again. Oh, it's nice you like the game." It's like, yeah,
We must
You
have
have no idea.
memorable faces, because I imagine she saw a lot of people.
See, I told you got a face already.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you to everyone who sent in a reply or a question this week. It's really appreciated. Robert, where can the listeners find us?
You can find us over at SITREP Radio on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, as well as our personal accounts. Send any questions or feedback for the show to sitradiopod@gmail.com, or you can find us on Discord. The link's in the show notes. We want to hear your thoughts on the news and topics we cover in the show, so be sure to leave a comment. I just repeated myself. And join the discussion in any of those places. Luke?
Would you like people to leave a comment?
If they want to.
All right,
If they want to.
Please leave a review of the show using a podcast app of your choice. We really do enjoy reading all your feedback. It's genuinely excellent, and at the end of the day, it does actually help other people to find our show. If you listen all the way to the very end of this mess of a podcast, you will hear all the juicy details about the other awesome shows that are available on the Mash Those Buttons network. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thank you.
We do live stream as often as we can, so if you're interested in dropping by and chatting with us whilst we play the Division, whilst we play some Siege, and probably fail at that, you can find us all over at twitch.tv/SITREP Radio. Now, just before I go, I just want to say a huge thank you to any guests over the show over 2018. You've been freaking awesome. We managed to have Petter on, Bicycle of Death. We obviously had Captain Karg.
Boris.
Everyone that joined. Yeah, Boris came on. I think we had Bombshell Jackets on, obviously, earlier in the year. Or was that last year? I can't remember.
No,
We've had so many guests.
I think we had bombshell jackets on just before 100. Then we had Sage and I forget who else for the 100th episode, didn't we? So
yeah, I'm pretty sure Cal. Was it Cal?
That was
joined us
it. Cal
this
was
year
on
as
100,
well?
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So huge shout out to everyone who's joined us. Obviously, huge shout out to the dev team, anyone that listens to this podcast, and to be honest, anyone that has helped support us, even by listening on Patreon, YouTube, anywhere. Thank you so much for the last year. You know, we're still here. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think we would be, but it's been tough. But we're almost so close to the Division 2 now. Rob can almost taste it. Anyway, I'm sure these boys will love this, but that being said, we have been SITREP Radio. That's your last one for this year. Thank you so much for listening, agents, and we will catch you in the new year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Luke, you son of a bitch.
Thank you for choosing a Mash Those Buttons podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to subscribe to one of our shows, you can find us on multiple podcast platforms across iOS and Android. Just search for the show on a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts and hit subscribe. If you can't find us on your favorite podcast platform of choice, just go right to the mashthosebuttons.com website, grab the RSS feed, and put it into your podcatcher of choice. If you want to check out some other podcasts you may enjoy, you should check out mashthosebuttons.com/shows. For World of Warcraft fans, we have two podcasts, WoW Talk, which is our news and community podcast, and The Torn and the Goblin, which is our lore and story podcast. If you enjoy Overwatch, make sure to check out Watchpoint Radio to keep up with the latest on Overwatch and its community. If you enjoy fighting games, make sure you check out Double Tap for the latest in the FGC. If you're a fan of The Division or looking forward to The Division 2, make sure you check out SITREP Radio. If you want to keep up with the latest at Mash Those Buttons, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/mtbsite, facebook.com/mashthosebuttons, and youtube.com/mashthosebuttons. We'd also like to have you join our Discord community. So just go to discord.me/mashthosebuttons and join us for a chat. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secure.